Hello friends, welcome to this video. Finally, some exciting news coming out of the UK. After all that restriction after restriction after restriction, now the UK is about to bring a new visa that will allow workers and their families to come and work and settle in the UK. Yes, that's right. This particular visa is meant to encourage people to come and work and live in the rural areas of UK. So if you are interested in finding all about this visa, just make sure that you watch this video until the very end. So let's go. Welcome back, guys. For people who have never been to the UK, including myself before I came to the UK or Britain equals England. And for some reason, it doesn't actually occur to many people that UK has 4 distinct nations. As a matter of fact, there are people who have lived in England even for 10 years and they have never stepped out of England. It's true, guys. If you don't agree with me, let me know in the comment section if what I'm saying is true or false. And if you also agree with me, please support me in the comment section by saying it is true. People can stay in England for over 10 years and they have never stepped in any other country of the UK. So it makes perfect sense for the UK to devise a new kind of visa that will encourage workers to come and live in other parts of the UK. Generally, they're talking about the rural areas of the UK. But initially, this plan is going to start by taking workers and their families to live in Scotland. Yes, guys, so this program might eventually expand to maybe Wales and Northern Ireland and other parts of England as well that are not attracting so many workers and yet they are needed. So where did the UK get this idea? Well, they got that idea from Canada. Let's take a look. So what you are seeing here is the whole document that contains everything that they're planning to do about that visa. So the original program was proposed in 2022. But of course, as you know, every regulation normally undergoes legislative processes before it's finally passed. So much as it was proposed in 2022, and in fact, the target was to implement it in 2023. But it was until this January that something significant was done, and it is now well on its way on being implemented. So what is this visa all about? So let's continue. So here we are looking at the executive summary, and this document is quite long. We are just going to go through the executive summary and you guys will already know what it's really about. So this proposal was initially brought by Marie and Neil Gray, and they were working together with Scottish local authorities and key stakeholders that represent employers based within the remote rural communities of Scotland. And here they provide a little background about it, and they say the Scottish government has repeatedly emphasized the urgency of the challenge for remote and rural communities with restricted immigration following the ending of free movement, threatening the economic and social viability of many areas. Many of these areas are particularly dependent on migration, with very few roles in remote and rural geographies meeting currently required salary threshold or the other criteria to recruit. As you know that the UK raised salary thresholds for recruitment from overseas. So that is also one of the things they are looking to handling so that employers can be able to employ people from abroad. So the Migration Advisory Committee highlighted evidence from the Scottish Government on remote communities in their report of 2019 and recommended the UK government pilot scheme to attract and retain migrants in remote areas. So the whole thing started in 2019, but the actual proposal came in 2022 and it was supposed to be implemented in 2023. But it has taken up to now, this year is when something has been done, and I'm going to show you what it is shortly. So after that, the Scottish Government commissioned an expert advisory group on migration and population to produce an analysis outlining the practical, deliverable, and evidence-based models for remote and Rural Migration Pilot Scheme, which could be implemented within the current UK immigration system. So this is what they are looking at: adjustment to the skilled worker route, a special Scottish visa, and a remote and rural migration partnership scheme. So between spring and summer 2022, the Scottish Government consulted on the options with a short life working group comprised of 12 rural or island Scottish local authorities, along with a range of business partners, using the expertise and views from the working group. The feedback obtained has directly shaped this proposal in order to best reflect the differentiated needs across Scotland's remote and rural communities. So this part here talks about where they got the inspiration to do this. And you can see they mentioned the Canadian immigration and rural immigration and rural and northern immigration pilot. So what was that program actually doing, the Canadian one? Just in case you guys are interested, let's just look at it in a minute. So this is what the Rural Community Migration Plot of Canada is all about. And it is written here: the Rural Community Immigration Pilot offers permanent residence to skilled workers who want to work and settle in rural and more remote communities. Okay, and this is the procedure that you can follow. Who can apply, get a job, apply for permanent residency, etc. If you guys are interested in looking at that scheme, which is Canadian, not UK, in detail, I'm going to leave the link under the description so that you guys can look at it at your own time. But for now, let's look at our Scottish special visa. So they continue and say, this is the Scottish Rural Community Immigration Pilot would present a distinctly new community-driven and employer-based migration route. It would offer a world-leading approach to spread the benefits of immigration to smaller communities, enabling migration based upon genuine employment opportunity, which would meet the economic and societal needs of a specific community, either in respect to acute shortage or potential for future growth / regeneration. So here they go ahead and talk about how it is going to be done, blah blah blah, all that stuff in collaboration with the central government and so forth. But basically what it says that the pilot scheme would ensure that there is a genuine employment opportunity for migrants. And then there's going to be a scheme where the candidates will apply. And after identifying the candidates, for example, the employers who are interested in taking up these candidates, they will recommend directly to Home Office that these candidates have passed our checks. And once that is done, then Home Office will be able to issue you with a visa, a work visa that allows you to come, work and live in Scotland, plus your dependents. But there's this interesting part that I would like us to read together. So here they say migrants would be required to adhere to conditions of employment, whereby they are employed within the designated community pilot area, with restrictions easing gradually over a period of 4 years. Migrants entered onto the scheme would be strongly encouraged to live within the community pilot area, with robust measures in place among partners to ensure migrants are supported to settle within the designated community pilot areas. And then here they talk about how it is going to be similar to other kinds of visas. So basically what they're trying to say is that once you are issued with that visa, you will be expected to live within the area of your employment. You know, it's more like currently, if you are a student, if you have come to a university and you have applied for a particular course, your visa ties you to doing that specific course in that specific university. You cannot come to the UK and then you change to a different course, or you start saying, now I'm no longer interested in being in this university, let me shift to a different university. It doesn't work like that. Even when you get a work visa, that work visa currently will tie you to that specific employer, ensuring that you perform that specific role for which you were given visa sponsorship. So they are borrowing that idea and translating it to use it in the communities. So in the place of employer or in the place of the university, it is now going to be the local area where you are going to be employed. So you'll be expected to work within that area, and they keep on reducing the restrictions within a period of 4 years. And after the 4 years, then you'll be able to work and live anywhere in the United Kingdom, not just Scotland. You will be able to go to Northern Ireland, you can go to Wales or come to England. That sounds good, right? Yes. But there are more benefits to this visa. Let's take a look. So here they also point out that there should be robust measures in place among partners to ensure that migrants are supported to settle within designated community pilot areas where possible. So in other words, once you're given that visa, it's not like currently how it is. Once you get a work visa, you look for your own accommodation and things like that. But in this particular program, once you are given that visa, they will help you find accommodation and all other things that you need to settle. They have to make sure that you are comfortable and you are able to work without any complaints. So now that you know the main points about this visa, the next and most obvious question is, when is it likely to be implemented, right? Yes, so we are looking at that next. But before we look at that, if you are new here, welcome to this channel. Here we talk about opportunities in the UK or elsewhere, either for study or work. So if that is something that you are interested in, please make sure that you hit subscribe so that you join this family. Thank you for doing that. And for all my returning subscribers, thank you so much. You guys are the best of the best, and I love you guys. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for sharing this information, and thank you for always coming back. You guys are the ones who motivate me to go and do all this research and dig out all this information and share with you. So I want to say thank you. Let's continue. So how far is this from being implemented? Well, as I said earlier, the proposal started in 2022. These are the other developments that have now happened. So after passing the proposal through the local leadership, it eventually entered the Scottish National Parliament. And once it was debated upon and voted, it sailed through. Let's just take a look at what I'm talking about. So as you can see from this heading, the Scottish Parliament called for the Labour government to act on a bespoke Scottish visa scheme. Members of the Scottish Parliament voted by 67 to 27 with these absentees to support the Scottish National Parliament government motion calling for action on immigration to address the needs of Scotland's employers, communities and public services. So after the proposal was passed by the Scottish Parliament, as you know, each of these countries has its own government. England has its own government, Scotland has its own government, Northern Ireland and Wales similarly. However, they have a central government that governs all the 4 nations. So now, after they passed that proposal, they took it to the central government for action. However, when it reached there was some challenge. Some MPs of the national government had proposed to stop the Scottish government from calling for the central government to act on that proposal. But interestingly, when they voted, that didn't sail through. That means that the proposal was adopted. So let's take a look. So here you can read, an amendment put forward by Scottish Labour that would have removed from the motion any call for action from Westminster government fell by 24 votes to 93 with no abstentions. So that is absolutely good news. In other words, some MPs had said they should do away with that proposal. But since they voted on it and only 24 voted for the removal of the proposal and 93 voted to keep the proposal, it means it's going to happen. Now the only thing that is left is for action. Because this voting we are talking about happened in January 2025. So it's now taking action that is left. And the Scottish MPs are really urging the government to implement this proposal. So are you guys ready to go to Scotland? Because you can be sure that once it is implemented, I'm going to share it here immediately. So if you haven't yet turned on that notification bell, make sure that you turn it on so that the moment it is implemented and I share it, you'll be among the very first ones to know and apply. And as you know about the UK, nothing lasts forever. Once they get the numbers they need, they will close it down. And you don't want to see the video when they have already filled up the places and they have closed it down. I would also like to know what you think. What are your thoughts on this special visa for Scotland? And by the way, it's not just for Scotland, it is beginning from Scotland, but the real intention is to cover all rural areas of the UK where most people would not like to go, but they want to bring attractive conditions so that you guys can come and work in those areas and come with your families. I would really love to hear what your thoughts are on this one. Otherwise, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.